Since the beginning of the pandemic, Litza Padilla has been taking classes from her living room table here in San Francisco.
It's really difficult to concentrate because at home obviously all the time it will be noisy and you don't get concentrate. It's really difficult.
Remote learning has been a challenge for many, but for Litza and her classmates, who attend International High School in Potrero Hill, it's been especially difficult.
Every student who enrolls in our school has been in the country for less than 4 years. And about 96% of them are English language learners. The other 4% have been reclassified.
Language learning is built on collaboration and immersion. And though they're trying to replicate the experience online, educators are concerned the remote learning environment is leaving students like Litza behind.
I visited a Zoom classroom and, all of the cameras are off and students are silent, then, not only is language development not happening, but learning is probably not happening.
For students to develop language skills, educators rely on a collaboration technique called meaning making.
We really believe that the driver for language development is negotiating meaning. When students are negotiating meaning, then that's when their language really, particularly their academic language, really takes off.
During a normal school year, Principal Tara Hobson says that this process is usually centered around using a student's native language as a tool to build proficiency in their second language.
Like you might have a kid who speaks Cantonese and they have in Chinese like the key vocabulary translated, and someone who speaks Spanish and someone who speaks Burmese, and they then are talking about a math problem about linear equations. But they have to use the academic vocabulary in order to talk about that problem.
But in a pandemic, collaborating and immersing are particularly difficult. And educator Jacqueline Rodas can see the difference in her online classes.
I feel like they probably would be immersed to more English if they were in person. There isn't enough time to help them. They're having a lot of tech issues. There's a lot of barriers that are kind of slowing them down or making it a struggle to understand the content. Versus if it was in person, they would have the materials right there in front of them. And I could literally help them see or point things out where they have to write it and everything. It's just difficult when you're not there with them.
For Litza, the online classroom has been isolating.
Most of us don't like to turn on our cameras because they get shy. That's why, you feel more disconnected.
And a lack of connection between students and their peers is causing a concern in the school district.
Because you can just imagine you're just sitting there in a Zoom space with the camera off and no one's talking except the teacher. It's pretty alienating. Yes, reading is great, and listening, watching TV in English, all those things help. But without the opportunity to engage in conversation, we're really missing a critical ingredient that ultimately will stall, their language development.
Data released by SFUSD in mid-January shows a growing learning gap for students across the district, but especially high school-age English language learners like Litza. That group showed a 5% drop in math comprehension against the expected average. Across SFUSD, over 900 students attended less than 40% of all classes in fall 2020. 32% of them were English language learners. Litza has even noticed it herself.
Something I have been noticing is, my English is getting switch as bad. That's why I feel that some of the words that I learned before, in 11th grade, I have been forgetting them because I don't practice it a lot.
With her June graduation approaching, it looks likely that Litza won't be heading back to International this year. But Jacqueline Rodas is still holding out hope.
But I do hope that students will be able to come into schools sometime soon. It'll definitely help a lot of our students who need one-on-one support. Because I feel a lot of them are catching up with the tech, they're doing very well right now, but there's still 30% or 40% of the students that are really struggling, and I feel I would really want to have them in person and help them.
For now, students and teachers at SF International are waiting for a plan and a date to return to in-person learning.